Hi everyone, it's so nice to see you here in Belgrade. My name is Lera, and today we will be talking about the project where I work at. It's Left to Survive, and I will tell you about how we develop our LiveOps system and how it brought us the agility and profit. So let's start with a couple of words about the project. So Left to Survive is a zombie shooter set in a post-apocalyptic world, and we have base building and exploration and all this stuff. So the game is live for 5 years now, so it's an old project, but we continue to release new features and functionality and more updates and more new content for it on a regular basis. So our operational work on Left to Survive, here you can see one of our beautiful arts. Our work is divided into two parts. So we have our binary updates, which usually include new features or functionality, complex bug fixes, or some store-specific changes you might already know. For example, you can only change metadata in App Store with a binary update. On the other hand, we have our live operations, which include new events, new regions, new PvP seasons, new content, sales and offers, and actually much more. As you can imagine, Left to Survive is a huge project. And it will be a disaster for us to release a binary update every time we need to start an event or to fix a minor bug, because if it's a binary update, it's always weeks of preparations, actually, a lot of stress, a lot of work for the entire team, and the risk of rejection, because stores do that. So we were looking for a way to be more flexible here, and we have found such a tool. So please meet downloadable content. Downloadable content is a component which lets us add almost everything we would like to the game. Our team has developed it and still improving it since 2012. And downloadable content actually lets us do many things with the game without a binary. So here are some examples of the content we can add to the game with downloadable content. For example, it's all our beautiful arts, enemies, heroes, new locations, and whatever you can imagine. And of course, downloadable content is a lot about balance, matchmaking, configs, all of that. And DLC helps us a lot with our LiveOps planning. So our LiveOps system is also divided into two parts, because we love dividing things into parts, obviously. So we have the predictable parts, which is season passes, new regions, other time-limited events. So they usually go one after another, have the same length, and they generate the same amount of money every time, so they can be easily estimated. And on the other hand, we have our experimental gray zone, where we can test new ideas, launch experiments, launch A/B tests, sales, and whatever we want to test. So this zone is very important, because it brings us new ideas we can successfully integrate into the existing system and make our schedule more variable and more effective. So I compliment LiveOps and downloadable content a lot, and I have a good reason for that. As I already said, it helps us a lot with content and stuff, but here I'd like to highlight one not so obvious thing. I'm speaking of platform relations and requirements. As you could see on the second slide of my presentation, we have launched Left to Survive to 7 game stores and counting, so each of that stores have different requirements, and moreover, they can be changed. So we need an instrument that will help us to change something in our game, for example, like any pop-ups or links. So we meet those requirements, and we would like to do it without a binary update. Another controversial thing here is store featuring. As you may know, it can be difficult to get and estimate, but today we are all on a race for organic installs, so we continue to use store featuring as one of the sources of organic installs. For example, at Left to Survive, to get App Store featurings in particular regions, we've added Brazil Carnival content and Santa Muerta content to the game, and after the featuring, we noticed a big increase of organic installs in those regions. And of course, no matter why you add new content to your game, it almost entertains your players and got some revenue boost as well. Of course, DLC and LiveOps just doesn't come without some challenges. Actually, at first, I wanted to call them merits, but I thought about it, and for me, they are challenges because you need to put a little effort in it, and they will be overcome. Here, the focus is on your team's workload. Here, I mean the operation team, game designers, quality assurance specialists, and the entire product team. So it's very important to plan their workload carefully so they have enough time to prepare all LiveOps you need and to avoid bugs in production. And then, when you released your LiveOps, your experiments, wherever, you need to carefully analyze all of this because you can easily miss the negative effect. So if any of your events doesn't show the result you expected, just turn it down, remove it, rework it, do something with it. Don't keep it there, it's not good. For example, for us, in Left to Survive, we have a co-op event where players needed to fight against a PvE boss, and this event didn't show the results we wanted, so we turned it down. Now it's in rework, and I hope that one day we will re-release it and it will show the metrics we expect and we want. Of course, remember that the more you give to your players, the more they expect from you. So be prepared to either release more and more high-end content for your every LiveOps, or be ready for ups and downs. They're totally fine. Everybody have them. Everybody have unsuccessful events. It's okay, but you need to plan try to plan those ups and downs carefully in your estimations, just to be ready for them. From my previous speech, maybe you could get an impression that the LiveOps system and downloadable content exist in a vacuum and they are just there. But in fact, they have a lot of impact on our binary updates, not only in terms of new content for the existing features or some tuning, but here the most important thing is kill switches. So in Left to Survive, every feature we release have a kill switch, so we can turn it down only with configs without a resubmission. Actually, there are many ways to use it. So the most obvious one is when you find a bug and it's bad and you need to turn the feature down, so you can do it. Another example, in Left to Survive, we don't have ads on our PC versions and they are turned down with kill switches. And for you, the latest example, recently we've noticed the increase of crashes on our Google Play version. So we have detected the component that generated them, turned it down with configs, and everything went back to normal. So here are some examples. of our experiments we launched and held in Left to Survive. For example, it's our time travel event. It's actually a series of events that are united with the same topic. And this type of events was successful from the very beginning, but with our LiveOps changes and experiments, we have doubled its revenue comparing to the first launch. Also here we have our gym packs. Actually, the monetization system in Left to Survive is very wide, but we still support it with manually set offers, which we release every week or two. We also analyze them, and if some of the offers doesn't perform well, we remove it, rework it, and so on. So those offers generate us 10% of the project revenue. And of course, I think you can already know that LiveOps is all about searching for the best combos. So Left to Survive, we've created some kind of monster of Frankenstein in a good way. So we got the core mechanics of one event, added their game balance from another event, added their special event store, supported it all with pop-ups and announcements, and it generated us plus 50% of revenue for the basic event. There is special time of the year, which is now actually. It's a holiday season, so it's the best time to hold some big sales, add some festive content to your game, and as a result, you will see revenue peaks in your flow. But also, we usually see a hangover in January, so it's also important to plan that hangover or support it with extra events, extra offers, extra sales. Another highlight for every project is its birthday. For Left to Survive, we have celebrated it in July. We supported it with a series of game events, a bunch of new content. We added a new hero, a new enemy, a new PvP location, a lot. And as a result, we've reached a new daily revenue record and got a lot of positive feedback from our community. But besides those big events, we also have smaller ones. They are pointed at our paying audience, so we can just add them to the schedule anytime we need it and boost our revenue in the moment. It's also a good way, it's a good kind of events to have just to support your game. So, here we are. We have downloadable content, we have a bunch of different events, and a passion for experiments. What should we do next? For me, it's time to get the most of it. So at Left to Survive, we focus on 4 main pillars. First of all, it's the continuous search for new combos. Another thing is total rework of game economy and balance, which supports it. Also, it's about adding new events types and new content, so you can make your schedule more variable and effective. And the last but not least, it's about experimenting with your LiveOps schedule density. So for us, this work has begun and developed at the end of 2020. We have united all our game events with the same economical balance. We added more events, we made them longer, and we started to launch more big sales. And as a result, we've gained plus 25% to our PPU year-to-year in 2021, and were able to keep this result through the entire year. So seeing these actually great results, we've continued this work and these experiments. Here you can see how our LiveOps schedule has changed through a couple of years. So it's the actual schedule. I just removed the names of events because they actually doesn't matter. We have removed all the gaps between the events. We made them longer. We made them more predictable. And now our schedule is smooth. And it's easy to work with, not only for me as a producer, but for our game designers, which can easily work with this too. On the right side, you can see our actual LiveOps schedule, how we have it now. We still have room for improvement. We have not the gaps, but like some almost empty spaces where we can add something else if we need it. We've been testing this version of the schedule since the second part of September 2023. So it's a little bit early to talk about the results. However, we already see that our revenue flow has become smoother, so we don't have those drops after the events, and we can easier estimate how much money we will generate with every event. Also, we have an overall increase of our monetization metrics, and of course, we see and expect even more engagement and positive feedback from our community because we of course, we reuse some content in our LiveOps, but generally we add more and more new things to entertain them, to keep them engaged. Actually, it's almost everything I wanted to share with you guys today. To summarize, I'd like to say that downloadable content is a great tool which made our team very flexible and agile, and if you can use some analog of it, it will be great for your team. Think of several new ideas, some events. Don't be afraid to experiment with them, and don't forget to plan your workload carefully, and all of this will definitely lead you and your project to the agility and profit. Thank you very much.
I would like to ask, so you did mention that you made your events more predictable. What did you mean for that? Like, I hear that you said that you made them longer, but what else? Like, do they?
We made them longer mostly for the purpose to remove the gaps. So we have like median length of 4 or 5 weeks for a season, for example. So we have no problems with planning it, and we can adjust them if we need, but still at the same length here. This schedule is more structured, and that's why it's more predictable for us. So we have a bunch of events. We launch them. We see for a couple of months or so, whatever we need, how much money they generate, and we can base our revenue plans and prognosis depending on this. If we go back and look at the structure several years ago, we have like many events for a day, for example, then a gap, and this was and those days when we have no events, they were like always a down, or maybe not. They were more difficult to analyze. So we decided to make the structure more dense, so we can actually make plans for like several months ahead.
My question is mainly for the people who are kind of now developing their games. So I bet that you did not have all the live ops or anything pretty much when you soft launch and launched. So question is, how soon did you start with the live ops, and what were the decision-making processes behind it when you decided which ones would be first, apart from obvious offers on the weekend and stuff like that? So how do you decide when making new live op, which kind of events will be, and especially how did you do it early on?
For our projects, it will be a little bit difficult to say about Left to Survive in particular, because it's an old project. But in our project that our team and our studio produces, we start to test our monetization in beta. So it's like, it depends, but several months after alpha, a couple of months after alpha, we add season pass, for example, and some events. So there you can already test some of your ideas. But I think it depends on the project, because Left to Survive has been for 2 years in production. It's a big project. We didn't just pushed some very unready alpha, so it was already lots of content in it. But if you do a casual game, for example, the process may be different. For us, new events are all about the analyze both of our inner metrics. For example, we have not so good metrics of the first days, so we need to improve them with some kind of event. So we either rework or the first user experience, add there, for example, more events, other types of events, test them. We use A/B tests a lot, so we can launch different events or events with changes for different parts of the audience. And of course, it's about researching our competitors and the latest trends on the market. So if you see that someone has already done something good, you can try to adapt it to your game.
So it looks like there is a lot of benefits of using that approach. Is there any downsides or difficulties that you faced?
Yep, I think that the biggest maybe problem or challenge here, especially for our team, is the lack of time. As I already said, you need to plan your workload carefully, and of course everyone always needs more money, more tests, more everything. So we sometimes have bugs in live production and any problems, and of course here we test and we speak about the monetization. So there can be bugs with your offers, and it affects your revenue, and we got a lot of negative feedback of such situations appear. So it's about time, your team, but I think that with the time it goes away, so the processes stabilize, and you can just know how much time you need to set this event or that event, and it goes back to normal. But in the very beginning, when you have just the idea and no time and you just want to test it, it can be not that good.
My question will be a little technical. All stores have some limitations, and I want to ask you, do your DLC contain only content or features as well? Because, for example, in Google and Apple, you cannot deploy features without the review. So, like, if your DLC have features, do you ship it with DLC, or you have to ship it before the event?
Oh, that's a good question, because we had problems actually with that. But speaking of the featuring, like the big featuring, we at first we release a feature or a live ops, or we start an event in game, and at the same time, more or less, we apply for the featuring, so the reviewers can see the content in the game. But we had problems with Apple when we launched they have in-game events, aka live ops in stores, when you have the banner of your event on your game page. And usually, and they also can be featured actually. So a couple of times we have made those in-game events before we asked for featuring, or before the game content was actually live, and those events were rejected. So sometimes, sometimes it's about rejection as well.